All right, we are on. Welcome back to the BRRRR Investor Podcast, where our mission is to empower aspiring real estate investors in their journey towards building generational wealth. Today, we're thrilled to have Andy Lara with us, a seasoned expert lender from MMC Lending in the San Fernando Valley. Andy's extensive experience in mortgage lending and his deep understanding of real estate investing, especially in fix and flips, make him a fountain of knowledge for anyone looking to dive into the BRRRR strategy and beyond. Andy, thank you very much for joining us today.
Wow, thank you for that introduction, Alex. That was very nice.
Absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time. So let's get started here. Could you share with us your journey into the mortgage lending industry and what sparked your interest in real estate investing and fix and flips?
Yeah, Alex. So I started doing this about 20 years ago. I got licensed April 2004. At that time in 2004, I was working as a licensed paramedic in Kern County, and I was working my tail off. I mean, I think I was like 21 or 22, and I was just working almost like 110 hours a week, doing something I loved. I love medicine. I love pre-hospital medicine. But I had an uncle. I have an uncle who was doing lending, and he would ask me periodically. He's like, "Hey, send me your paramedic friends, so they can buy." Um, and I did. I sent him like a couple of them, and one of those at night, as I'm frustrated, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm dragging this elderly person to dialysis or something. And I was like, you know what? Why don't I try this out? Why don't I try lending? And I did. One of my supervisors wanted to buy, and he was my first client. I closed them up, and quickly right after that, I got licensed. That's how I started with the lending industry. Um, Fast forward a couple years later is when because I wanted to help myself with my taxes. I um, I started investing in properties.
Very smart. So basically, real estate investing was your the way to shelter for your taxes and so forth.
Yeah, initially that's what it was for. Um, I was very blessed in being very successful when it came to with my mortgages, the places where I was working. Um, Unfortunately, the way that lending is and was back in the day, we're now W-2.
Okay.
So, when you're 1099, you can, work your magic with your taxes, but when you're W-2, that's it. You're basically done. So I met this pretty good CPA that taught me about the corporations and how flipping a property could help me reduce my tax liability. So very quickly, I started to increase my search in property flipping because it has helped me since 2012.
Very cool. That's awesome. That's a great tip.
Yeah, you
Now,
know what? It
yeah.
took me forever. I got nailed, Alex, in 2006. In 2006, lending was very different. If you had a pulse, um, and you could fog up a mirror, you can get a loan. So I made a lot of money. I made a lot of money. I was very young, very immature. So I ended up owing the IRS about $300,000
Wow.
in taxes. I was just making payments and payments and payments and payments, and the IRS unless you pay them in full, they're gonna nail you, with interest.
Yeah.
So
The fees,
so
interest, and all that.
yes, yeah. Uncle Sam doesn't play. So when I opened up my corporation and I started seeing that I could have these losses and giving myself a K1, um, even though I wasn't getting that money back, I was able to make huge payments on my IRS tax liability. And thanks to that, in 2015, I was able to pay them off.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, when you mentioned corporation, was that for your lending business or was that for your flipping?
That was strictly for my flipping.
Okay.
I opened A&R Management Inc. In what was it February 2012.
Okay.
A&R Management stands for Andy and Ruth, my wife's
Nice.
name. I wanted to include her.
Absolutely.
Um, and it's been honestly it's been a blessing for a lot of things, but also for my taxes. I always say that, you know, figuring out my taxes is my third job, lending, flipping, and then figuring out my taxes. so, so so it's been a journey, but I think I got it all figured out now.
Yeah. Uncle Sam is always that partner that's with you every step of the way, whether you like it or not, right?
Oh man, and I've been audited with my corporation, and I can say thankfully because we do everything by the book, when it comes to showing my bank statements, showing my losses, showing my revenue and everything. I've been audited twice, and it's been good. It's been good. I pay I pay a little more than the average Joe with my CPA and my bookkeeper, but at the end of the day, when Uncle Sam has came and knocked and drilled me a little bit, I've been able to pass.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
always good. So you mentioned A&R Inc. So it sounds like it's not an LLC. You had a corporation. And if that's the case, was it an S Corp, C Corp? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I opened an S corp. I
Okay.
opened an S corp just because my CPA told me to do that, not because I knew anything at that point. But now I understand that with an S corp, I can W-2 myself, I could 1099 myself and give myself a K1. I could I could flip a property and not pay any capital gains.
Okay.
If you sell a property um, under your name, escrow is supposed to keep a little bit of money for the state taxes.
Correct.
With an S corp, they don't do that. All of my properties that I've flipped since 2012 have been under my corporation and have been able to help me with my tax liability.
Sweet. Yeah, that's a big, big benefit when you're flipping or investing in real estate. You definitely want to have some kind of corporation, LLC, incorporated, obviously consult with your accountant for more details on that. Moving on to the next question, Andy. In your role as a mortgage lender and mortgage originator, what investor-friendly lending programs do you offer that are particularly beneficial for those involved in real estate investing and fix and flips?
We have a few. So I'll start off with our FHA loans.
Okay.
Some of our clients don't have a mortgage yet,
Hmm.
right? And they want to go ahead and jump in, or they have a mortgage, but they have kids or family members that don't have a house. So we have a mortgage loan with 3.5% down, where we will lend you money to repair a beat up house.
Wow.
So I know, Alex, that you have a lot of hookups and you have a lot of pocket listings and stuff like that, right? Well, you could actually, if you have a client where you want to uh, put them into one of these, cool listings that you have, he can go in with 3.5% down, and we'll lend them the money to repair the home.
Okay.
That program is the FHA 203K.
Okay.
The FHA 203K will lend you. Um, it doesn't matter if you want to add another bedroom, a bathroom, or if you want to build an ADU. We're cool with that. There's another one called 203K Streamline. That one's very specific for you to just upgrade the house.
Okay.
All right. The other investor friendly loan that we have is a home style renovation. It's basically the same thing that I just explained, but it's a conventional loan.
Okay.
And you could also be a investor and use this product. I've actually used this product on one of my flips that I did in the Adams district.
Okay.
I flipped a house. Pretty funny story, Alex. Just real quick. So I bought the house, and buy the house under my corporation, so my wife doesn't know about it until I close. Right. Once I close, I take her, and usually not anymore, but before, man, she used to get so mad at me, Alex. So I go to this house, and I'm really happy to show it to her, right? And as soon as We get there, the neighbors right in front of the house are duking it out,
Wow.
just fighting. These two girls are just fighting, and there's little kids running everywhere. And my wife is like, "You're crazy, what are we doing here?" Um, and she got mad. She shut the door, went into the car, and just didn't want to come out. So, but long story short, I used the Homestar renovation. The house came out beautiful. I purchased it for 545,000. Homestar renovation helped me put in 120,000. We ended up selling that house for 850.
Wow.
Yeah,
Very nice.
850. And I didn't. I only put at that point. I think the way that I worked it out, I put 5% down,
Okay.
and the rest was Homestar renovation. So that's a pretty cool product, both for owner occupied and for investors. Yeah, and now if you're one of those guys, like me, that we don't put a lot of money in our taxes, right? Um, you can buy with 20% down and use a DSCR program.
Okay.
DSCR program, we don't look at your taxes, we don't look at your pay stubs, we just look at the rental income of the property, and that way, you don't have to worry about Uncle Sam.
Okay. Before I get into DSCR, because that's one of my questions. It's a very, very popular loan in the field of investing, especially in the with the BRRRR strategy. But regarding the other programs that you mentioned, what how do they calculate the amount of rehab money that they're able to provide for the buyer? Is it based on what the remodel they're going to do and the future value of the house, or what comes into play for that?
Yeah, there's two steps to starting that loan. Step number one is to get a bid.
Okay.
Once you have a bid, then what we do is we forward that to our appraiser,
Okay.
and our appraiser will give us the future value of that property depending on the bid.
Okay.
So, for example, I bought a property in November in South LA, bought it for 400,000. I got a bid. It's a little expensive, but the reason why I went with this contractor is because I trust him, and
Okay.
I know that he's going to pull through. So the bid came in for 275,000. Right now, as the property stands, it's an illegal duplex, but in the bid, it pays for completing giving me the certificate of occupancy for that illegal unit, and also we're adding an ADU.
Nice.
So once that I forward that bid to the appraiser, the future value appraisal came in at 860.
Wow.
So then that appraisal we give to the lender. In this case, it's an investment, so I can do a loan up to 80% of 860. So all of my repairs are going to be paid through the Homestyle renovation loan.
That's very, very interesting. Now, the bid that you get, is that, from a contractor of your choice, or is it something that they mandate who to go with?
Yeah, so it has to be a licensed, bonded, insured contractor.
Okay.
Whenever I don't use Homestyle renovation, I use a just a regular guy that does this. Some of these guys don't have licenses, right? They're a lot cheaper, of course, if you use the guys with no license. But whenever you're doing the FHA 203K or the conventional homestyle renovation, you have to work with a licensed, bonded, and insured contractor, general licensed contractor.
Okay.
Mhm.
And you mentioned 3.5%, which is very, very attractive, especially with home prices nowadays and affordability and so forth. If somebody chose to put a higher down payment, let's say 5-10%, is that still doable? Can they still benefit from such a program?
Yeah, if they're gonna do the 5 or 10%, maybe we can, use the homestyle renovation loan because that's a conventional loan.
Okay.
Um, it's a little easier than the FHA. It's just maybe a package smaller than the FHA loan. The FHA loan has a lot of paperwork,
Okay.
but so does the homestyle renovation. But to your question, the answer is yes. The mortgage payment might be a little lower. especially if they're adding, doing more like 10% down. It probably help them with their mortgage payment.
Awesome. So I want to move into the DSCR loan. DSCR loan, obviously this is the Burr Investor podcast where you buy, rehab, rent, you refinance, and you repeat. So the refinance step, a lot of investors that I work with and myself, we tend to, seek the DSCR loan for that step. And, some of the reasons are because, we have equity in the property and so forth. But can you elaborate a little bit about it? I mean, in California, it's a little bit of a challenge to use it just because of, property values versus the rental income. But can you elaborate a little bit about how that works? I know there's a 1%, and then if the rent is less, some lenders, do it and so forth. Can you touch on that a little bit, please?
Yeah, so DSCR is calculated 100% on rental income. And what we do is we send out an appraiser. The appraiser gives us the rental of that area. If the rent covers the principal and interest, the PITI, I should say, then you're good. You're covered. Um, and then if it doesn't, then they might ask you for more down payment. So the initial down payment for a DSCR program is 20%.
Okay.
With 20%, you can do this product. But there are other programs called like no, for example, no ratio, where if it doesn't cover the entire mortgage payment, then you can still do the loan, but they're going to require 30 or 35% down. Yeah, but with this DSCR program, Alex, you don't have to show me your tax returns. All we do is we base it off your credit score and the rental income of the property, as long as it covers the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance.
Which is the PITI.
Correct.
Awesome. And so this program you can purchase a property using the DSCR and you can refinance a property using the DSCR, correct?
That is correct. Yeah. The only catch, the investors want to make sure that you have a property, that you you
Okay.
already you already own one. So if you, for example, don't have a property, but you're an investor, you want to jump into investing, it's going to be difficult for banks to get you a DSCR program. Um, I was gonna help somebody out, but I getting a DSCR program. This gentleman didn't have a house, but he had
Mhm.
a lease agreement. Before I gave that client an approval letter, I asked the investor and I said, "Hey, this guy doesn't have a house. Are you guys okay with this?" And they said no. They want to
Oh,
make sure that you have a house and that this is 100% an investment for you.
so you have some sort of experience
Yeah,
or
you have
just
to.
owning a house right at the current time, like not in the past? How about if you had rental properties in the past? Would that be something that qualifies them?
It's rental properties in the last 12 months, or owning a
Okay.
property in the last 12 months. That's what it
Okay.
is.
Okay, very cool. Now you mentioned the only thing they don't look at your tax returns, they don't look at your income. You did mention your credit score. Can you touch on, what are the credit score limitations for that program?
So the credit score limitations, they differ between investors, but usually with 20% down, you're looking at a 700 FICO score.
Okay.
They do go down. The DSCR program does go down to a 660 FICO score, but they require more down payment. But with 20% down is 700 FICO score.
Okay.
Yeah. They
Very cool.
also they also require you to have three trade lines. Trade lines like credit cards, car payments, or something else. Either I don't know if you pay a toaster or whatever for the last 12 months. They do require you for you to have trade lines. A lot of people don't like to use their credit, but in this case, they do want you to have three trade lines.
Definitely. Okay. So, given your experience, what are the current trends you're observing in the real estate market, particularly in the context of investing and fix and flips?
When it comes to fix and flips, I'm finding that it's becoming more and more difficult for the investor to find a property that is going to give them either good rental income or some money in return. But having said that, me as an investor, I continue to be patient, um, and I try not to push the market.
Okay.
Property values are still there. In fact, we feel that this year we're going to continue growing in equity because our interest rates are going down. Um, but we as investors we have to continue to be patient so we can find that piece of property that's going to be good for us.
Hmm.
Um, Also, too, here in California, they've made it easier to build ADUs. So I'm finding that a lot of investors are looking for that property so they can build that ADU and that junior ADU for to pay the PI the mortgage payment and also make some money on the side for them.
Okay. Very, very cool. Have you noticed, any shift in, increase in, loan demand and, what's kind of the ratio between refinance and new loans right now based on the current market the way it is?
Refinances are very dry right now. The only people that are refinancing are people that are in trouble. For
Mhm.
example, divorcing or people that have a lot of credit card payments or have put themselves in debt. But a lot of people are really not refinancing. We believe that the refinance market is going to pick up in the middle of the year. And the reason why we say the middle of the year is because last year interest rates were about 7.5, almost 8%.
Yeah.
So as interest rates decrease, as the conventional loan hits the 6.5, we're going to be able to refinance a lot of those people that purchased last year. Um, and of course, when it comes to purchases, the market, believe it or not, Alex, is still hot.
Yeah.
People want to live here in California. They see the value of purchasing basically anywhere here in Los Angeles or the outskirts of Los Angeles. People also see that rent is crazy. It's high. So families are if families are coming together, Alex, putting their money together, putting their taxes together to be able to buy. I'm seeing a lot of that right now.
Okay. Quick question. Do you guys also offer, your lending services outside of California, or are you strictly in California?
We lend outside of California as well. We basically do the entire West Coast.
Wow, okay.
So if we start from Washington, Oregon, of course, California, Nevada, Arizona, Utah, Colorado, Texas. Texas is
Okay.
huge. For some reason, we lend in Alabama, uh, Idaho, Tennessee, and Florida.
Okay. Alabama is a very good market to invest in as well, I hear.
You know what? I've never been to Alabama, but I've been to Arkansas. My father-in-law purchased some properties in Arkansas, and I was very impressed, Alex. I
Yeah.
was very impressed. I I don't know exactly what I thought that I was going to go see in Arkansas, but but I was very impressed. I'm actually looking at some properties out there, maybe to rent out.
Nice.
Hmm?
Very cool. For someone just starting in real estate investing, particularly in fix and flips, what advice would you offer to avoid common pitfalls?
I think the biggest advice that I could tell somebody is to be patient. You have to be patient. If you set yourself, with somebody that is not looking out for you, they're going to continue to give you properties, right? They're going to send them to you all the time. And maybe if you're not patient, you might be able to get into something that is not to your benefit.
Hmm.
So, number one is to be patient. Number two is to put yourself together with a professional as yourself, Alex, because you know the market. And also too, you're an investor. So, you as a real estate agent, you look out for your client. So you're going to be able to tell your client and say, you know what, Andy, I feel if this property with the money you have in the future can give you really good rental income, or it could be a good fix and flip for you if
Mhm.
you do this, this, and this. So number one is to be patient. Number two is to put yourself with somebody trustworthy, someone that has your best benefit, and someone that's going to look out for you. And I myself, I would put myself in your hands because that's the kind of person that you are, and also too because of your experience.
I appreciate the compliment. Thank you so much, Andy. So it sounds like, having the right team is very crucial. Obviously, from a partnering up with the right lender like yourself, having a good real estate advisor, having the right contractor, etc. That's very crucial to investing in general.
Yeah, yeah, that's the bigger umbrella of it. I being patient, having somebody that you trust, and then of course the contractor. The contractor can make you or break you when it comes to flipping. If you kind of sort of stand back and you look at the prices of what contractors are charging people right now, it's a little overpriced,
Yeah.
right? For an ADU right now, I mean they're charging anywhere from 160,000 to 250,000 or more. Whereas a couple years ago it was about 110,000, 100,000. So you really, really, really once you get the property, you have to choose a contractor that is recommended, where you've seen his work. Um, Also, too, you got to get yourself about three bids,
Yeah.
and you have to get everything in writing.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely put yourself in a predicament working with the wrong contractor. And I know, inflation, has really hurt us. Material costs has increased, but yeah, like you mentioned, I've been hearing some, increase in pricing for these ADUs, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, yeah. Cost of material is still expensive. I mean, in during COVID, of course, lumber was just ridiculous. Lumber, man, it was really bad. But now it kind of it's coming down. Um, but the prices of those contractors are kind of are still high,
Yeah,
and the demand for a contractor is still high. So if there's if the demand is high and there is no contractors out there, of course their cost is going to continue to stay high.
definitely. So I know we've heard, you've shared with me some stories, but for our audience, can you share like a memorable success story from your career in mortgage lending or a fix and flip project that stands out to you?
For a fix and flip, um, I think one of them that helped the community, um, that stands out to me just because we were able to do something for that area. Um, Maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, I was told about this property in Van Nuys, and this property was the son of the owner lived there, and it's very unfortunate that he was very, very heavy into drugs. So not only that it was his problem too, but the house was a drug house.
Wow.
So there was like 18 people staying in and out. There was children in there. It was a mess. I have a picture of the house where they have, I kid you not, Alex, like 300 bikes. They have a bike fetish. I had it was really bad. And of course the seller, which became his sister. So the mom passed away. The sister, took over the property. They couldn't get these people out. And the property value was down. It's just a really bad neighborhood. Well, because of that house.
Hmm.
Well, in one night, Alex, we had I don't exactly. I made some calls, and it was around 11 o'clock at night. I get a call from the sheriff department, and they're like, Andy, we're gonna do this tonight. Meet us at the house. We're gonna go there around 1 o'clock, 1 a.m. This is 1 a.m.
What?
Yeah. So I call my contractor and I say, hey, meet me at the house. We're gonna do some stuff. Bring your material. We were there. And one night, Alex, the sheriff department was there, LA City, LAPD was there, child services was there, helicopter was there. We cleaned that house out in one night. We were able to not only clean up the house but also help those children that were in there.
Yeah.
Because as soon as we walked in, there was people passed out with drugs and stuff. So bad
Wow.
situation for the neighborhood. We're able to turn this house around. Beautiful home. I got the home for about 350,000. Of course, it's a success story because we were able to sell it at that point. I think it was 750,000. So I made really good money out of it. But now when you walk around in that neighborhood, it's so different.
Yeah.
You no longer like to see the paraphernalia on the floor. You no longer see this just ugly eyesore of a home with bikes in front of it. You no longer see these kids just wandering around the neighborhood. It was a complete turnaround for the neighborhood. And of course, I made good money out of it.
Yeah.
So I say that was a success story for many things, many reasons. Number one, the seller was able to get rid of those druggies. Number two, we were able to clean up that street and put a very beautiful home in that area. And number three, my bank account increased by about $200,000.
That's amazing. I love that part too. Yeah, it's so interesting, like how every project has a story behind it, and that's what really makes the journey so nice and enjoyable. The challenges along the way. I know you mentioned to me even in the La Puente property that we helped you with as well. There was a good story behind that, and you really helped out the family there, and you dealt with a lot of challenges from the neighbors, from the people living there, putting things in the toilet and sewer, etc., and threats and all that. So,
Like I said, I think it was because I um, was trained in as a medic.
yeah,
I have really thick skin. I was able to work on a patient, you know, CPR, intubation, drugs, death, or whatever, and 5 minutes later, I was able to eat my hamburger, right?
yeah,
So same thing with real estate. There's things you have to deal with. You can't let that pressure, take you over. You have to know what you're getting into. For example, if you're buying a property with tenants, you mentioned a team. You have to have your team of lawyers. You have to know exactly what you're getting into. And yes, with La Puente, we had to sue to get those people out. Um, it took me about, what was it, 3 months to get them out. Um, but because of my prior knowledge of eviction, we were able to get them out. So like I said, building your team and having and knowing exactly what you're getting into with these properties.
and I really, really love your passion, your dedication. Like you mentioned, your background in paramedics definitely translated into it. How you take on difficult situations with a great demeanor, you care, you help out, and then at the end, it's a win-win situation for everybody. So I truly appreciate that about you very much. You're some of our audience may be scared now about real estate investing, but they're not all like that. Not every single project is like that. Just Andy selects them in a very specific way. He just enjoys it.
Yeah, yeah, I like the suffering. Um, I personally am very big with the money at the end of this, right? So is it worth it for me to go through 6 months of hell or 12 months of hell? If it's over $100,000,
Hmm.
the answer is yes.
Yeah.
If it's less than $100,000, I won't do a crazy eviction, or I won't take over that house with the drug addicts and stuff like that. But my thing is, if I can make $100,000 at the end of this, then it's worth it. That's my little thing that I do on paper. Mhm.
Very cool. Now, how important was mentorship for your success, and what did that look like for you?
Mentorship is a big, big, big deal. especially for people that are just starting in this. They definitely need someone that can guide them through this journey. I myself, I can tell you that I've never been mentored by anybody specifically, like, that I can call and this and that. But I had some incredible people that I looked up to.
Hmm.
When I first started lending, I looked up to Justin Aldi. Justin Aldi was the owner of J&R Lending, DBA First Security Lending. Um, I love the way he did business. He was like a bulldog. He was very to the point. On a piece of paper, he'd tell you, "Oh, this is the money you're going to make," and he just throw the paper at me. But I just love seeing that. I love seeing that. Another person that was a big mentor to me was Ron Allen Wood. He's a doctor in Burbank.
Okay.
Just also seeing him as how he took care of his money and invested his funds into specific things, and also how he treated the community. That was a mentor for me. And then lastly, here with MMC Lending, the owner Kenneth Shaw. Um, I've been with this company for 14 years. So just just watching him treat me as a person, watching me treat me as an investor, and watching him work his company and also too manage his business, and we've invested in properties together. They've been without them knowing, they've been my mentors.
Yeah.
And that Alex has helped me so much to be able to see these people and learn from far away. I try to copy them as much as I can.
And it's so interesting, from my perspective, the way I see it, I mean, you have an amazing team, in the background, and that seems to translate down to them. I mean, you're a great leader, and you're a great mentor to them. So it's awesome how, those that helped us, we can utilize what we learned from them to help others. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's amazing.
You're welcome. Yeah, I think the best thing that I've learned for all three of them is to always treat everybody with respect.
Absolutely.
Everybody, and for example, I have a team of two wonderful assistants. One of them is now a junior LO. When they mess up, treat them with respect.
Yep.
When maybe they're not feeling well, and they might say something to me that I could just bite back, and but no, these people that mentored me never did that to me. So that, like you said, that stuff trickles down, and it's helped me. I One of my assistants has been with me for almost 14 years,
Wow.
and my other young you know uh just energetic LO, she's been with me for 5 years, so that means something.
That's a true testament to your leadership, man. That's amazing. That's something to be proud of for sure. Now, Andy, a lot of our listeners are always on the lookout for impactful resources to aid their real estate investing journey. Could you share with us one real estate or business book that you would highly recommend?
One book that I really liked. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Is it Where's My Cheese, or something to do with cheese? And I'll send you the name of it, Alex. But this book was a really big
Who
impact.
moved my cheese or
Who moved
something
my,
like?
who
Yeah.
moved my cheese?
Yeah.
Very, very. It helped me a lot for me to understand, um, not to blow my money and my opportunity. You know, because like I said, in 2006, I was very young and immature. I blew my money in a lot of dumb things, cars, stupid stuff. What if I would have used that 300, $400,000 to invest in different things,
Yeah.
So that book really helped me to mature mentally, and to also too to make sure to be ready for opportunity.
Hmm.
Because sometimes, Alex, somebody might call me and tell me, this property is ready to go, but you have to close in 10 days. I have to be ready for that opportunity. I have to be quick to realize how good that opportunity is. So yeah, that book definitely helped me out to mentally prepare myself for that.
Very cool. Who Moved My Cheese? Yeah, that's a good book. I've read that one. So, as we come to a close, could you let our listeners know the best way to reach you or learn more about your mortgage lending services?
Well, they can, to learn about the mortgage lending services, you can go to mmclending.com. You could look under loan originators, and I'm the one on top, Andy Lara. You could also reach out to me in my cell. That's 818-381-2086. Usually, if you shoot me a text, it's a little easier. I do some stuff on Instagram, MMC underscore SF team, right? Um, and of course, my personal page too with Instagram is Lone Dog 101 at Lone Dog 101. But of course, Alex, if you recommend any of your people, they can call me. We can meet up for some coffee. Come to the office if they want to know more about what we do or how we invest or the loans. They can definitely do that. No problem.
Absolutely. And we're gonna, leave Andy's bio down below in the comment section and, his social media handles, website, contact information. So please check that out. Andy, thank you very much once again for taking the time and joining us today and sharing this wealth of knowledge. We truly appreciate it.
No, thank you, Alex. I appreciate you reaching out to us. Thank you so much.
And to our audience, thank you all for joining us on the BRRRR Investor podcast. If you found today's episode helpful, please hit like and subscribe to our channel for more real estate insights. We love hearing from you, so please leave your thoughts, questions, or topics you'd like us to cover in the comments section below. Be sure to check out our website, thebrrinvestor.com, and follow us on social media at Alex Nale and at the BRRRR Investor. Keep learning and investing, and we'll see you on the next episode. I'm your host, Alex Nale. Stay invested.